Hello and welcome. This is Patty Azzarello, and I'd like to welcome you to this webinar on more energy and less stress. For those of you who are new here, and we've had a lot of new people registering for this topic, so welcome. I'll just take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Patty Azzarello, and from a career standpoint, I, like everyone else, started at the bottom. I started with a thankless entry-level job, and I ultimately worked my way up and became a general manager and ultimately a Silicon Valley CEO. And I'm now a business executive, an author, and a speaker. And today I advise companies and executives on strategy and leadership. Why I do these webinars along with the rest of my business is when I think about my career, I think about how I had a lot of help along the way. And I think about how much it really helped. And I believe so strongly that people who want to get ahead in their own careers should have access to all the secrets and support that will help them do that. So I created this professional development program around career advancement to really help people become the obvious choice. When I really step back and take a look at why some people get ahead and why some people get stuck and don't get ahead, it's that the people who do find a way to become the obvious choice, the one who gets selected for promotional opportunities, the one who gets supported for those opportunities. And this program is based on the success model that I describe in my book, Rise, that has 3 components necessary for advancement and success. And the first component I call do better. And the key idea here that's so important to understand is it's not about how hard you work. It's not about how busy you are. It's about how much value you add. And the second part of the model I call look better. Because no matter how much value you create, you can't get promoted if you're invisible and no one sees you and associates you with that value. And then finally, connect better. You simply don't get as far without help. And you don't even see opportunities often without other eyes, without other people who are revealing opportunities to you because they see you as someone who is adding a lot of value, and therefore you are the obvious choice. So this topic today, more energy, less stress, I've not put it in any one area of this model because this is really about you. And there are elements of all 3 parts of this model when we think about energy and stress. So that's what I want to talk about today. And this program, my professional development program, I call my executive mentoring group, and it's where I share all the secrets. And each month I introduce a new topic, and today's topic is more energy, less stress. And I provide doable, practical insights and tools, structure, and support to get those things done. So today's webinar is open. It's free to the public. And this live broadcast that we're doing now that you're listening to, the replay of that is available for 1 month. And there is a new webinar each month. In my program, it's not just about a webinar, but it's about the mentoring and the action. And throughout the webinar today, you'll hear me referencing something that I refer to as an executive playbook. For each monthly topic, there is an executive playbook which creates a deeper dive and more content in terms of a webinar. There's a guided action plan. and members get ongoing access and a lot more stuff in general, including live coaching and mentoring with me. And what I want to share with you, the reason I bring this up front is that if you want to get this playbook on our topic today for free, you'll be able to do that. And so I wanted to let you know that that exists, and you'll be able to get it for free if you decide that you want it during this webinar. So let's jump in. What we'll talk about today, I have 6 ideas to share that are about finding more satisfaction, meaning, and happiness in your work. And it's really about looking at your career and life goals together and how to optimize, first and foremost, your choices and how we need to think about our choices, how to optimize your choices for energy and make the right trade-offs. And then managing energy drains and stressors that come up around work. So this idea of having more energy and having less stress, there's a lot of information out in the world that you can find on these kinds of topics. And what I wanted to do in this webinar is just narrow that down and focus on the ideas where they specifically intersect with work and your career. So that's the angle on increasing your energy and dealing with stress that I want to cover today. And finally, a big part of that we encounter because work can be so stressful and make us so busy is that feeling of feeling like you are stuck or feeling like you are overwhelmed. I want to start here. I really, really admire this quote from Alice Walker, which is, the most common way people give up their power is thinking they don't have any. And I see this so often when I see people suffering in their work and suffering in their career, is that no one has showed them how they can make a change, how they can do something different, and they feel powerless because they don't have it in their imagination in terms of all of the different things that they could do. And so I want to start here because it's so important to recognize that you already have the power. If you want to make something different in your work, you have the power. And what we need to do is look at our willingness to change something. Because your choices are, if there's something that's really bugging you, like it's really making you suffer in your work, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's peers, maybe it's something about the environment, the work itself, your choices are always the same 3 things. Number 1 is stay where you are and change something about it. Number 2 is stay where you are and just accept the reality of whatever it is. Or choice number 3 is go somewhere else, right? We always have these 3 choices. And in different moments in time, you'll choose a different one of these. But the key here to think about is give yourself permission to change something and to realize that your company can absorb an unlimited amount of work from you and not care about you. You need to be the one who cares about you, and you need to be the one to make it work for you. Now, a couple of stories here that always stick with me on this topic is I was working with an organization once where there was an executive who was saying, Patty, I need you to help me get my team to stop working so hard. She could see that they were all burning out. They were doing so much more work than she was asking them to do. And she wanted me to help them see the difference between being busy and adding value. The sad thing that happened was before we were able to get that engagement started, her whole group got laid off. So here was a group of people that were all taking it upon themselves to work like maniacs, trying to get ahead, trying to be the most competitive by working so hard. And it didn't amount to any benefit. And they all got laid off. There's another story about a guy that I was reading something he wrote, and he was so tied up in working hard and always being available that he was accepting work phone calls on his wedding day. And within 2 months, he ended up getting laid off, right? So your company can absorb an unlimited amount of work from you and not care about you. And if you want to do something different to manage your energy and your time and what you give to your company, it really does need to be up to you. And you need to give yourself permission to do that, to change something. It takes a lot of energy to hate your job. Now, I know those of you listening, some of you probably hate your job, some of you love your job, and everything in between. But every ounce of energy you spend thinking about the things you dislike about your job is an energy cost. And so how much more energy would you have if you really liked your job? How much less stress would you have if you felt like you were doing great at your job and felt recognized for it? So the goal here is to get yourself into a job that you like, which suits your strengths, where you can deliver more value to your company, but work in a way that suits you. Work in a way that suits your values and your life. I showed this chart last month where we talked about managing your own performance, and we really focused on the part of this chart that was maximizing what your company values, maximizing how you show up and how you deliver your work and how you prioritize to make sure you're creating a lot of value for your company. But that the magic is to be found at the intersection of all three of these things: what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what your company values. Today, I want to focus more on you. I want to focus more on what you enjoy and what you are good at, and the magic of working in that sweet spot where you have natural strengths and you get energy from the work that you're doing. And in any job description, if you just write down all of the stuff that you do in your job, and this is not a bad exercise to do, is look at that list and highlight the things that give you energy and highlight the things that drain your energy. And then think about how you can spend more of your time on the things that give you energy and tune your job over time to be doing more and more of that. So one of the ways to think about this is to really understand your values, your core values, what's important to you as a person, as a human being, and understanding your values and understanding your boundaries, understanding what's not okay. And once you get that clear in your mind and you know what they are, you have a better idea, a better awareness of when your values are being supported and when your values are being compromised. And it lets you decide on purpose when something is conflicting with your core values. It lets you decide on purpose how to respond. And it's really important to not let work change your core values. That creates misery. That creates so much stress, so much energy drain when who you are as a human and what's important to you is being compromised. So it is so, so important to understand your boundaries. And for me, in my own career, I can tell you that this was so fundamentally important for me because I was building my career in technology as a female, and I was in some very, aggressive male-dominated environments. And I had to be really clear with myself about what was okay and what was not okay. And there were times when there were situations that were just not okay that I decided to do something different, to either speak up to change something or to get myself out of there because it had crossed a boundary. And so we have all kinds of boundaries. It's just important that you know who you are and that you allow yourself to bring your real self to work. Because the personality lobotomy, to turn yourself from your weekend self into your work appropriate self on Monday morning, is so very painful. And the more that you can feel good about bringing your real self to work, the more energy that you're going to have. Because any minute you spend not being authentic costs energy. It's as simple as that. And if you don't fit at work, the idea here is don't live in a state of apology and defense. That is also exhausting. And instead, either assert your unique value or go somewhere else. There were so many times when I was told in my career in one way or another, Patty, you don't belong here. You're not technical enough. Or you don't have enough experience in our business, or whatever it was. Instead of being defensive, I would just center myself on who I was and say, this is why you need me here. You need me here because I'm different. You don't need another technical person. There are gazillions of you. What you need is my business acumen. What you need is my ability to do sales and marketing. And by asserting who I was and my unique value, I was able to continue at work without that constant drain of being in this state of apology and defense. There were other times in my career where my values were being compromised. I was in a really nasty corporate environment at one point in time, and I was told that I needed to be nastier myself. And eventually I just decided to go somewhere else because it was not worth changing who I was just to fit in to an environment that was wrong for me. So understanding your values is really fundamental, and it's so useful. And it helps you reduce stress. It makes you more productive, and it increases your satisfaction, and it increases your happiness. So there's more in the executive playbook on this topic and exercises for understanding your values, understanding what you hate about your job, and developing your strategy to change something. I really love this idea of make your possibilities bigger than your excuses. So when there's something in life or work that you want, a lot of times we just start listing all the reasons why that will be hard or impossible. And no matter what it is that you want in life, there are always going to be things that come up that make it seem hard or impossible. And so I like this idea of making your possibilities bigger than your excuses. So just, yep, those are the hard, impossible things. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to expand my possibilities here? So one of the ways to do this is to just get really focused on how you manage your time. And I am a huge believer, and this is true in my own life, that time management is the key to happiness. And what I mean by that is I schedule time for the things I want in my life. Time to think, time to work on my career plan. I have often during my career scheduled time with a career partner, schedule time for networking and mentors, and schedule time for life and for fun. So these are things that don't specifically fit into your job description. And if you schedule all your time for just things that are in your job description, you don't give yourself time to do the other things that you need to do. And I find if you put it on the schedule, it happens. If you don't put it on the schedule, it just gets consumed with activity. And so really think about what you want time for in your life and put it on your schedule. Now, some people push back on me a little bit on this and said, but Patty, doesn't that make life really boring? Like, shouldn't there be room for spontaneity? If it's not spontaneous, then, it's not pleasant. It's not fun. And what I find is that if I schedule time for fun or downtime, I get it. If I wait for good things to happen spontaneously, they don't, or at least not as frequently as I'd like. So there's no reason at all you can't still be spontaneous, but it really helps if you've carved out and scheduled some fun time, and then you have this half of the day on Saturday, I have scheduled for me to do something fun. Now let's be spontaneous. And you'll find even during the work week, if you want to schedule a walk or a workout or a lunch with a friend, and those things will give you energy and make you happy, if you get it on your schedule will shift around it. Your schedule will shift around things that are already on your schedule. And the secret to reclaiming time and energy for yourself can often be as simple as scheduling. So there's more in the executive playbook on this in terms of how to get really specific and practical about implementing this sort of time management strategy. One of the other things that I think is really important when we think about energy and stress and work is family and trade-offs. And in my mind, the secret here is not about balance, but it's about trade-offs. And I do believe in life you can have it all. You can have all the things you want, just not all at the same time. And so sometimes you have to make trade-offs. At some points in your career, you may tell your family, I'm going to be working super hard for a while for these reasons at this point in our life. And at other points, you may tell your family, you know what, I'm going to back off on work a little bit because I really want to spend much more time with the family. That's just a very simple example, but a very, common example that all of us face. I find that if you make those trade-offs on purpose, it makes it less stressful than if you just let yourself get swept up by work or swept up by family activities in a way that you're not being purposeful about it. But the thing that really takes the stress away here is to be on the same team with your family and share your work goals and motivations and expectations with your family and be explicit about timing and timeframes and together make these trade-offs on purpose and make different trade-offs at different time periods, and then agree on family time and work time and set time frames and boundaries. And if you do this on purpose with your family, life becomes a whole lot stressful, and you'll end up with more energy for work and you'll end up with more energy for your family because everybody's expectations are now aligned about why you are working in a particular way. Next, I want to talk about physical energy and how to maintain, preserve, protect, increase, just how to deal with optimizing your physical energy. So first of all, it's back to this idea of scheduling things to make them happen. So know what you need. Schedule downtime. I specifically schedule downtime. And if I'm doing a lot of travel or if I have a lot of activity, I know I'm going to need some downtime. So I block it out. And that makes an enormous difference for me. If you think of a high-performing sports car, it has to spend some time in the shop. So it's unreasonable to think you can just go, and never have any downtime. And so know what you need. If you're an introvert or an extrovert, downtime looks very, very different. So understand you and make sure that you're scheduling downtime, time for exercise, and time for family. If you want to increase your physical energy and you're not exercising regularly, exercise will make a big difference in your physical energy. Another way to increase your physical energy is sometimes to stop working and sleep. And what I mean by this is if you go to bed at night and you are still working, like instead of going to sleep, you're still solving problems, you're still making calculations, you're still weighing risks, you're still making lists. If you're doing all of those things in your head when you go to bed instead of sleeping, that's a real drain. It's a physical energy drain because you're not sleeping and you're maintaining a high stress level while you're going to sleep. So what I do here is I use something that I call a worry list. And what I mean by that is it's different than a task list. But if I'm leaving for a vacation, I started this when I would go on vacation, is I'd have my task list, that was fine. But I would actually write down, what are all the things I'm worried about right now? And I'd write down that list, and then I would leave it at work, and I would go on vacation. And when I was on vacation, I didn't have to maintain that worry and worry that I was going to forget about what I was worried about, because I knew I had written it all down and I could just go back to work the first morning and I could take out my worry list and pick up worrying right where I left off. And that was such a profound improvement in my life that I've started to do that when I'm tempted to go to bed with a lot on my mind. And I just write down, what are all the things I'm worried about? And then I put it aside and I go to sleep and I tell myself, I don't need to work on this anymore. I'm done for today. And the most important thing I can do for myself right now is to simply go to sleep. Another idea around physical energy is to think about our addictions, these harmful addictions that really crop up in our work, which is being addicted to being busy all the time, being connected all the time, to perfection, and doing a lot of office housework to make things even more perfect. Being the hero, being the crisis emergency person, or taking care of everyone without regard for yourself. If you can be aware of these things and caution yourself against these things and step away from being consumed by these things, this is going to give you a lot more time in your day and your life and preserve your energy as well. There are more examples about these kinds of things in another playbook that is titled Make More Time. Now moving from physical energy to mental energy. They're both equally important and necessary to preserve and maintain. So one of the things I think is so important in terms of your mental energy is to walk through life and through work with a generous attitude. So at work, be grateful for things that go well, for people that help you, share, mentor, teach, be generous with your knowledge, be generous with your time, and don't hold grudges. If somebody achieves something and you don't think it's fair, instead of that making you angry, saying they don't deserve that, say, what can I learn from that? And I have found that third one has made a big difference in my energy. Another thing about mental energy is this one I learned from my mom a long time ago, and it's really a very powerful thing for me, is to just not pre-worry about things. We can get so caught up in our mind about what might happen and how awful and scary that would be and what we might do about it. And you can spend a huge amount of mental energy on that. Instead, what my mom taught me is see what happens and then solve the problem you need to solve. So you end up solving one problem and not pre-solving a million problems that actually never came up. Another one that I really struggle with, and I still, I still work on, and it really helps, but it comes up a lot for me, is not to list how hard your life is. So when you're overstressed, when you're over busy, when you have too many things on your schedule, where you have too many problems to solve, where you have a bunch of stuff that you're struggling with, you've had a bunch of maybe unfortunate things that all happened at the same time. That sort of stuff happens to all of us in life. And I find that I have a tendency to list it over and over again. And I make this list in my head of all of the hard stuff, all of the difficult stuff, all the work. And I like step back and admire how hard my life is because of all of these things on this list. And I find if I just cut that off, if I find myself starting to make that list and just say, Patty, stop, you're not allowed to make that list. Think of something you're grateful for instead. My energy does not sink. My energy stays at least stable if it doesn't improve a lot. But making that list of all the problems and all the things you're worried about over and over again is an enormous mental drain. Another really key idea about mental energy is to think about doing something creative. Because our brains, our human brains, when given no stimulus, when they're not in use, the default state of the human brain is actually negative, as scientists have studied. And I find that fascinating. And I know for myself that if I feel, overworked, overstressed, too much activity, and then I try to simply stop and rest, it doesn't work so well because I just get into kind of a weird brain space. So the antidote to that is to do something creative, is use your brain, but use it for something other than the work that you're worried about. So learn something you're interested in, create something, write something. Engaging your brain on a different thing can create a real sense of rest and a real energy boost. And then schedule thinking time, schedule learning time, and schedule an official think break. This was an idea that inspired me from Bill Gates, where for his whole life, 2 weeks a year, he goes into the woods and he reads. He disconnects and he just reads. And I wrote a blog article about how to think about scheduling a think break, but it's something that can be a really powerful thing to do, maybe twice a year. Just give yourself, you don't have to go to the woods for 2 weeks, but maybe give yourself 2 hours or half a day where it's just for you and it's just about thinking. And in the executive playbook for this topic, more energy, less stress, there are specific exercises for managing physical energy, managing mental energy, and there's checklists and ideas to help you organize that for yourself. So another aha that I learned at one point in my career from mentors is that if you stay overwhelmed in your job, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job fully. What we need to do is figure out how to get on top of that overwhelming workload so that we can deliver the value without it burning up all of our time and energy. And so dealing with being overwhelmed is actually part of your job description, because part of your job is to make yourself okay. Focus on the things that have the most impact. Reinvent how your job is done to be more doable. And one of the other gifts that I got from a mentor when I was in a really stressful, new, difficult job is he said to me, Patty, just coping is actually a value add. Think of the mess that would be there if you weren't there. Even though you feel like you're not adding enough value right now in the beginning, your company needs you to cope, and just coping is valuable. And that was such an enormous weight lifted off my mind. And then another part of making yourself okay is just avoiding the negative talk and people who are negative at work. and they tend to gather a crowd because they're often funny about it, and it makes them feel popular or smart, but it's just not. Negativity has no useful place in anywhere, but particularly if you're trying to work and lead and manage your energy and stress, get away from the negativity. Another thing I was grateful to learn early in my career is this idea of work fast, not perfect. Because if you can do one thing to 100%, but that the time it takes you to get from 80 to 100% is really long, you might be able to accomplish 5 things at 80%. And delivering those 5 things is way more valuable than delivering one perfect thing. The difference between 80 or 90% and perfect is really a loss of life, a loss of energy. And it doesn't have a big enough payoff. So really learn how to work fast and not perfect. And another thing that's sort of counterintuitive when you're feeling overwhelmed is because you're thinking of, what can I take off my plate? You know, how can I do fewer things? Is instead thinking about including something that gives you energy. Because a lot of times when we are busy beyond belief, a lot of it is not stuff that is giving us a lot of energy. So if you know that talking to certain people gives you energy, or that reading on certain topics gives you energy, build some of that into what you're doing. Build some of that into your day, because it's, even though you feel like you're overwhelmed, including something that gives you energy will make you feel better, and it will give you energy. This is another quote I really love, which is from Marianne Rodmacher, which is, "Courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow." And to me, this is so powerful because, you know, it's okay. You don't have to solve all the problems on any given day, but your willingness to come back and show up again and try again and keep going is really a good thing. And so sometimes we can have more energy and less stress just by taking some of the pressure off ourselves, and thinking of courage is just that willingness to try again tomorrow. So if you are feeling stuck or unsupported, or you're suffering setbacks, do something. What I do is I take some victim time, but then I time bound it. Like, this is worth 2 hours of me being miserable and feeling like a victim, or this is worth a whole weekend of me feeling like a victim. But then I cut it off and I move on. It can also help to move something small forward, anything. It doesn't even have to be related to the thing that you feel stuck about, but just moving anything forward will help you feel better. I've mentioned before this idea of a parallel universe exercise, where you step outside of your life and your problems and your work issue, and you imagine a parallel universe where everything is exactly the same, except there's a version of you in that parallel universe that is more capable in every way. Smarter, faster thinker, better networker, more energy, better hair, right? And then what I do is I think, what would that version, what would the Patty with the better hair do? And that really helps me get unstuck, to just sort of separate myself from the moment and think about what that would look like in a parallel universe. And then finally, get support. Find an expert, find a sponsor, build your network, build positive visibility. When you're feeling stuck, a lot of times the way out of feeling stuck is through other people. And so developing those connections and that network of other people that can help you is one of the most important ways to not be stuck. And I can tell you, every time I was stuck in my career, it was a smart person or a mentor or someone else that helped me get unstuck. I had never, what am I trying to say here? When I think about the most challenging times in my career, I could get myself into a better headspace, but in terms of actually solving the problem and moving forward, I always found help from engaging others. And that's the main learning I took away from getting unstuck. So this was a worksheet that was available as a download when you registered for this webinar. And it's just a nice way to think through what's making you feel stuck, what would a good outcome be, and what resources should I use to get unstuck, and who should I talk to get ideas and help. So there are other related playbooks. If you're interested in this topic, in the member library, there's a playbook on confidence and resilience, on dealing with fear and rewriting your internal story. There's one on strategically thinking about your career. There's one on managing your own performance. Another useful one is the old standard ruthless priorities and make more time. So these are all in the membership library. So 3 things to take away from our topic today. Number 1 is know what works for you and make changes. Accept and use your power. Tune your job to suit you and honor your values and boundaries. And number 2, manage your time. Rewrite how you spend your time to deliver enough value at work and reclaim space for your life and your happiness. And then manage your energy and view your energy as a precious resource that needs to be protected and needs to be recharged by your thoughts and your choices. So the final thought here is you do it. Restore your motivation, energy, and happiness by taking more control of how you work and how you recover. So that is the webinar. And let me now tell you about the program and how you can get the executive playbook for free. So today's webinar, again, free to the public, available for 1 month. Membership is about mentoring and taking action on these ideas. And so one of the elements of the membership is an executive playbook where you get more insights and content. There's Q&A and conversation. There's templates, worksheets, and scripts, and there's ongoing access. You have access to this as long as you're a member. You get access to everything, and there's streaming video and MP3 downloads so you can listen on the go. There's guided action plans, which you can participate in, or everything is also available, and you can do it self-paced, and you get weekly quick insight videos in your email, and also live coaching with me. So if you would like to get this playbook for free, you can start a 30-day free trial to the Executive Mentoring Group and just go to execmentorgroup.com/trial, and you can sign up and you can get this playbook for free. So I want to share a bit more about this program and why I do it and the benefits that people have. But if you want to just run now and go get this trial, that's how you do it. And I would welcome you into the program. So why I offer this program is I see a lot of people who are struggling in their careers, ambitious people who are super talented and who want more, and they're working really hard, but just not getting ahead enough in the way that they want to. And they tell me they're not feeling recognized. And one thing I hear a lot is, I'm just not seeing opportunities. I don't know. I just don't see opportunities for promotions. Or they're just not enjoying their work enough. And they're seeking more fun and more meaning in their work. Feeling stuck, feeling without choices or power. And a lot of people financially hostage to a job that they hate, which is really a shame. And I also noticed that they're just not getting enough help from their managers or company to solve these problems and get the breakthrough that they're interested in. So that's why I created the Executive Mentoring Group. And through my own experience and the experiences of working with others, I know what works and I know what gets you stuck. And I've made this my life's work in terms of helping people and businesses move forward. And that's what really excites me. And I'm excited in this Executive Mentoring Group to offer this program to help people get the breakthroughs they want in their career. Because I believe, number one, first and foremost, that all people deserve the significant career advantages that come from having a mentor. And number two, that when people thrive more at work, the business thrives more. So there is only goodness to be had here. And there's so many benefits of getting mentoring. I personally experienced the benefit of mentoring, and it got me to become a general manager at the age of 33 and a CEO at the age of 38. And I never would have advanced my career that way without the help of mentors, because they helped me overcome some really common career risks that get people stuck. First and foremost, simply being too busy and overworked. You can't get ahead when you're too busy. Number two, not being recognized, not understanding how to find opportunities. Number three, not understanding how executives communicate. Number four, not having enough influence. Number five, trying to succeed on my own without support and sponsorship. And number six, just kind of like our topic today, fear, stress, frustration, burnout. It's really important to recognize and have a plan to overcome these risks. And it's one of the fundamental reasons I do this program, is to help others see and overcome these risks and get their breakthrough. So just like my mentors helped me to see and avoid these things that would have gotten me stuck. And I also learned from my mentors how to get ahead without sacrificing my soul and turning into a miserable, self-centered jerk. Because I believe that success at work has to be integrated with success at life. And when I see like really people who are successful business leaders who are miserable assholes, to me, that is not fitting my version of what success is. So with the Executive Mentoring Group, I'm just so thrilled to be able to help others get their breakthroughs and be happier in their work and their life without sacrificing their soul. So one great example is Carrie, who she just couldn't figure out why she kept getting passed over, and she was delivering excellent results. It wasn't just about working hard, but she was delivering excellent results, but the CEO just was not associating those results with her, and he was taking them for granted, and she was invisible. And so through this program, she learned how to communicate differently about the value of what she was doing, and she got 2 pay raises and 2 promotions, and it was just a great story. And from Robert, membership helped him know about the key aspects of career advancement that he didn't know even existed. And that's really exciting to me. So just to give you an idea of some of the upcoming topics, again, today is more energy and less stress. And over the next months, you'll see topics like authentic networking, marketing and positioning yourself, and stand out, get promoted. So a year membership includes live group coaching with me twice a month, 24 executive playbooks, action planning, structure tools, templates, reminders. There's a private Facebook community, which is optional. And I'm offering this to members at $269 for a whole year. I really wanted to make this program something that was accessible to anyone who wanted some help and mentoring and insight to get their breakthrough. And Many companies will pay your membership fee out of their professional development budget, so don't forget to ask. Probably about half the members pay this on their own, and the other half, their companies are sponsoring it. So if you're interested, don't forget to ask, because very often your companies will pay for it. I love this quote from Adrian, because this is what I would like to say the membership provides, and he said it very well. And he said, Patty, I'm amazed by the executive mentoring group. I've joined the mentorship meetings you've organized, and I'm blown away. You've provided me an insight into management, and I learned from you many things I had no idea about before. You told me how an executive thinks, how a manager should think, strategize, and go about planning his team's work. You really opened my eyes into the senior management world. It's now much more clear for me what I have to do to succeed and make a difference. It is indeed a gold mine of information and knowledge. And so again, if you would like to join, you can start with a free trial, execmentorgroup.com/trial, and you'll see the option to start the free trial or join as an annual member. So I just want to take one moment to tell you what you get in the free trial, because it's actually a lot of really cool stuff that I'm excited to offer. So you get the current executive playbook, but you get 2 bonus executive playbooks. The first bonus playbook is on ruthless priorities, and this topic is just so foundational to any success, because it helps you be less busy, work less, but have more impact, say no without disappointing people, add more value, get recognized, defend your time, and feel less stressed and more successful. The second bonus executive playbook that I wanted to give you access to right away, because it's so foundational, is about mastering executive communications. So you learn what executives care and don't care about, how to hit the mark fast and don't test their patience because they have none, how to tune your language to be more relevant, how to organize your delivery to have more impact, and how to build your credibility in each conversation. So in the free trial, you get those 3 playbooks, and you also get some things that are yours to keep even if you don't continue the membership. You get an ebook on ruthless priorities, and you get a 10-slide executive presentation template. And these things are yours forever, even if you don't decide to join after the trial. And then you will get invited to a coaching hour where you can get direct coaching from me. If you join today, there's this oddity in our system that when we switch over from one month to the next, last month's playbook is still in the trial today as we switch over. So it's just sort of a secret backdoor. You won't see this anywhere on the website, but if you join today, you will get this 4th playbook as part of the trial as well on managing your own performance. And you can cancel at any time. There is no risk here. And if you have trouble canceling, just send us an email. It is not my ambition to trick you into a subscription. My ambition is to only give you super useful stuff that's going to make a difference. And in this free trial, there's a ton of useful stuff, and it's yours for free. And you can cancel at any time, I promise. So there are 24 playbooks in all, and I want to talk a little bit about how members use these 24 playbooks, because it might seem a little bit overwhelming. First and foremost, you don't need to work through them all. That's not necessary. Choose a topic when you need it. So if you're struggling to have a conversation with your boss, or you're trying to influence an uncooperative peer, or you are trying to get a network introduction, or prepare for an executive presentation, whatever it is, you can just choose a topic whenever you need it. And then you can just listen. You can just listen on the go to get insights, and you don't actually have to work through the playbook, because sometimes it's just that idea. It's just that different way of seeing something or thinking about something that will change how you have that conversation with your boss, or will change how you present your work in that review meeting. and you get the breakthrough. So ideas can create breakthroughs on their own. But if you find a topic where you want to do deeper work, every playbook has worksheets and a guided action plan, and you can do that. And then in the coaching hours, you can ask me your own questions, and you can ask me questions about anything. Those coaching hours is time for you, and I am happy to help. So the two ways to join are the monthly program, which you start with a free 30-day trial and then $29 a month, and your library builds each month. You get 4 playbooks in the free trial and 1 new playbook each month, and you get invited to 1 live group coaching session each month. The annual program is $269 a year. It's a 23% discount, and you get everything immediately. You get all 24 playbooks immediately, and you get invited to 2 live group coaching sessions each month. So why people join is avoid those damaging career traps and risks, to better understand and define their own career goals, to solve problems, overcome obstacles, issues, and difficult people and difficult bosses, to use their own unique strengths and personality to thrive in their work, and to get access to and successfully compete for their desired promotions. So some more ideas from Liz and Steve: practical, decisive, and direct, and the program creates a permanent improvement. So if you go to execmentorgroup.com/trial, this is the screen that you will see, and you can start your free trial. And remember, if you do it today, you get 4 playbooks instead of 3, but you won't see this on the website. So there you have it. I would love to welcome you into the executive mentoring group, and you can start your free trial, or you can join as an annual member. And if you are thinking you'd like to be an annual member, but you still want to do the free trial, you can do that too. Just contact us during your free trial, and we'll make sure to convert you over to an annual membership instead of a monthly membership. So I will stop there. And there's a few minutes left. I talked a lot today, but I will open the line if there are any questions. Just give me a moment to switch the phone lines over.
Q&A session has started.
All right. Are there any questions? Hello, did you have a question? Liang?
Yeah. Hi, Patty.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, we met before in FL Networks. Very nice to attend your presentation again. So I have a question about your coaching hour. Normally, how many people are participating in this coaching hour? Is it hundreds of, or is it?
No. You know what's interesting is usually it's around, it's less than 50. Usually it's around 40, and
40,
most of the people call in to listen. And sometimes I'm begging for questions. So if your concern is that you might not have time to get your question answered, you don't need to be concerned about that. We always have time for your question. And it's fascinating to me that people like to listen and spend that time without asking questions.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I always have questions, and I also like to hear how other people are dealing with their daily difficulties.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's great for that.
Yeah. So do we have other people maybe for this session?
Yeah,
or I'm the only participant.
Other questions?
Yeah, sure. So, I see you have a career switch from a large corporate to a small startup, and I think I'm also facing a similar situation, switching from a well-established corporate to a startup that I want to just, it's a new area. It's a fintech area. just to see if you can give some advice.
Yeah. So have you already made the switch, or are you thinking about the switch?
It's in the process.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. And when I look at people that, if I want to hire an executive, my favorite combination is if you've had experience at both, at big companies and at startups, because they both offer different opportunities and challenges. So the thing that's tough about going to a startup is you no longer have infrastructure. Like things you took advantage of or took for granted, where there were other groups or people that were providing, maybe research or website design or whatever it is. At a startup, it's like, oh, if I want that done, I'm going to have to do that. There's just not a lot of extra people around. But the great thing about being at a startup is that everything you do counts. Like every single thing you do either moves the business forward or takes risk out of the business. There's not a lot of time spent in things that don't count. And so that's a really gratifying feeling. But one of the things you can bring to a startup when you've had big company experience is that startups sometimes get stuck when they need to scale because they're used to running around just doing everything as it comes up, and they don't have systems and processes and infrastructure to rely on. But you have seen how the world works at a bigger company. So you can help a startup choose a place, maybe if we created a system or a process here, we would suffer less. And that can be a real value add that you can offer.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Sounds very good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for your advice. Yeah.
Other questions? All right, last chance. Happy to help. Here's another. Nope. Oh, there you are. Do you have a question? Tawheed? Nope, maybe not. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining the webinar today, and I would look forward to welcoming you into the program with a free trial or an annual membership or anything that works for you. It's always an honor for me to be involved in helping other people get their breakthroughs in their careers, so I would love to help. So with that, now maybe we do have one more question. Let me try. Nope. Are you there?
Hi, Patty. Sorry, I'm not sure. I didn't press *6. I thought you could hear me.
Yeah, no. So we're here. We're here now. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for the great presentation. I actually had the opportunity to attend the Rootless Priority 1 as well that you about a couple of weeks ago. I was just wondering, like, if you have enough people from a company, do you like in-person like in-person class, a couple of hours, 3 hours? Do you do sessions like that to like a class session to share your ideas?
Yes, absolutely. I do corporate workshops in person as well.
Okay, that's great to know. Do you know, and are there the topics? What topics do you usually cover in those?
Well, that we can totally customize that. Right. I've got a lot of topics. So we would talk about what would be most useful to your group at that point in time, and we could create something custom.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any last questions? Okay. Well, thank you all again. execmentorgroup.com/trial, and have a great day and have a great weekend. Thanks, everyone. Bye.